Welcome back to Gitamrita course. It's day 11 today, and we are going to discuss chapter number 10. The opulences of the Absolute, also known as Vibhuti Yoga in Sanskrit. Let's begin by chanting the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Shah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachanti Deshavadine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurapushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Vanchakalpatarur Krishna Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So thank you for joining. Today we'll begin the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. How have we reached here? Probably if you have attended all the sessions, you know. Some of you have been attending since day one. So you know where we are standing in Bhagavad Gita. Half of Bhagavad Gita is complete. Chapter 9 is over. And honestly speaking, actually full Gita is complete. The entire message which Krishna had to give to Arjuna, he has given. He has spoken about the most important instruction of Bhagavad Gita. That was in the last verse of chapter 9, 9.34. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So if you now follow the story of Bhagavad Gita, you must have seen that there is a similarity in the instructions which Krishna gives to Arjuna. In one way or in another way, Krishna is telling Arjuna that Arjuna should always think of Krishna, should always remember Krishna. He told Arjuna, you should think of me, you should remember me, and at the same time you should fight for me. So here Krishna is expecting Arjuna to meditate upon Krishna. But which kind of meditation? There are two kinds of meditation. One is which is called closed eye meditation, where a person sits at one place, closes his or her eyes, and then meditates on the form of Krishna. But here Krishna is not expecting that kind of meditation from Arjuna. Krishna is expecting open-eyed meditation, where the eye is not closed but open, which means the person is very busy in the normal world, and yet that person is meditating upon Krishna. That's not an easy task. That's quite difficult. And that is only possible if and only if a person has a very deep sense of love for Krishna, then only is it possible. We will come to that later, how this open-eyed meditation becomes possible when there is love. So Krishna, when he was explaining like this to Arjuna, Arjuna was having a different understanding. He was thinking closed eye meditation is much better and much easier. So when Krishna told him that this is the most important instruction, manmana bhava madbhakto, there again he said, manmana, you fix your mind upon me, Arjuna. So Arjuna wants to learn this science deeply, that how I can think of you, though I don't see you everywhere. I see so many other things, but still I want to think of you. So what is that knowledge? What is that art? What is that science that will empower me with this kind of vision? Arjuna wants a change of vision, you know, and that's what basically this chapter does for us. Chapter 10, it helps us change our vision, which will help us to see Krishna everywhere. So Arjuna is asking Krishna to teach him open-eyed meditation techniques, and Krishna answers to that by speaking about his different opulences, his different powers and manifestations in the material world. These are technically called Vibhutis in Sanskrit. That's why this chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. So when you look at a Vibhuti, because that Vibhuti has a connection with Krishna, that Vibhuti reminds you of Krishna. In that way, you think of Krishna always. So now the science has to be learned, the art has to be learned how whenever we look at anything, we have to look at it in connection with Krishna. How is this thing connected to Krishna? How is this thing related to Krishna? And if you look at that way, then that thing can help us remember Krishna. So anything powerful, anything beautiful, anything opulent, actually anything good has all its goodness coming from Krishna. Everything. So Krishna here in this chapter, in essence, is going to teach this science to Arjuna. So this begins with verse. Krishna is speaking this verse. Bhuya eva mahabaho shino me paramang vachaha yatteham priyamanaya vakshyami hitukamaya. Here Krishna is telling Arjuna, you are a mighty armed one. You are very strong and you have a lot of love for me. Priyamanaya, you think myself as dear to you. Means you love me a lot. And that's why for your benefit, hit kamyaya, for your benefit, I shall give you this special knowledge, supreme knowledge. And this knowledge is greater than what I spoke before. Now, so it's so interesting. Krishna is again and again upgrading the level of knowledge is giving to Arjuna. In chapter 9, he told this is the highest knowledge. Now in chapter 10, he's saying this knowledge is higher than the highest knowledge. Again, in future chapters, Krishna will say this knowledge is greater than what I spoke before. So why is this knowledge given in chapter 10 greater than the knowledge given in chapter 9? This is because in chapter 9, Krishna told about Krishna's love for Arjuna and love for other living entities, pure love and how pure love is. But in this chapter, Krishna is going to give that knowledge to Arjuna by which Arjuna can increase his love for Krishna. Arjuna already loves Krishna, but by this knowledge, that love can be increased. It can be expanded. And that is very, very important actually. In any relationship which is based upon love, there can be stagnancy. When the exchange of love doesn't increase. Therefore, in spiritual world, there is no such stagnancy because the love between the lover and the beloved, whether it's conjugal love, whether it is paternal love, whether it is fraternal love, any kind of love that keeps on expanding, it keeps on increasing. And that's why there's no stagnancy, there's no boredom in that. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna, I'll give that knowledge with which you can always, with which you can always increase your love for me. So if a person has a certain amount of love for Krishna, with this knowledge, after having learned this science, that person can multiply that love to a greater degree. So that's why this is very important, very special knowledge, how to increase love towards Krishna. And then how does it do so? You see, it's very beautifully explained. Let's say a person meets his old friend after many, many days. Before they used to live together, play together, study together. But now, after a long time, they have met. So one of them realizes that my other friend has become a very rich person. Now he has become a billionaire, a famous person. And yet, at the same time, he remains my old friend. And we still have that deep connection between us. So Now understanding about the greatness of that person will increase our, amazement and wonder at the relationship we have with that person. Because not only is he great, but he's also my friend. So my appreciation for that relationship will increase. So in this way, again in this chapter, when a devotee understands how great Krishna is, how opulent he is, what powers he have, naturally the appreciation of that devotee for Krishna increases. His gratitude increases, his understanding that, oh, I'm so fortunate that I am a friend of Krishna, or I'm a devotee of Krishna, I'm related to Krishna, makes him more happy, makes him feel more satisfied. That I have connections with Krishna. I know Krishna. And Krishna, he takes care of me. Krishna reciprocates with me. So that is the beauty of this chapter, that it helps us strengthen the bond of love. The science which Krishna is going to teach in this chapter. Strengthen the bond of love. To hear about someone's greatness is very, very important if you want to increase our love for that person. Actually, it is a fact. It's a fact that if you want to develop appreciation for a person, that appreciation may not so much come when we are with that person, but that appreciation comes more when we hear about the good qualities of that person, the good deeds of that person from someone else. And this is the art of increasing our appreciation for something or someone. That we should hear from others how those things or those people are important for us and what they do for us. Sometimes when we are with those people, because of familiarity, we may not sufficiently appreciate them. In that situation, we need to depend on others' help to become more appreciative, more grateful. And this is the science. That's why Krishna says, Arjuna, if you want to become my devotee, you become the devotee of my devotee. Because then you will hear from that devotee of mine about me, and that devotee will speak to you out of love for me, and that will help you develop love for me. If you directly come to me, perhaps you'll not love me, because you'll not look at me in the right way. You may not look at me with those loving eyes. But because my devotee, he or she always looks at me with love, that devotee, when he's going to speak to you, talk to you, is going to talk about that love. And when you hear about that love, you'll start loving me. So this is how it is, that when we hear from others about someone else's appreciation, our appreciation increases for that person. So here Krishna is going to tell Arjuna now, next, that though, I wish to speak about all these things to you, and I wish to speak about my greatness, even many personalities, great personalities, they don't understand this. In fact, no one knows me. So Arjuna asks, even the demigods, they don't know you, Krishna, because demigods are supposed to know a lot. So Krishna says, Name vidu suragana. The demigods also don't know me. Then Arjuna asks, what about the sages? They're very learned, they do a lot of austerities. Krishna says, no, even they don't know me. So why do they not know about Krishna? So Krishna explains, because it's very simple. I am their source. They have come from me. And this can be easily understood. How can a child know everything about the father? Because the child has come many years after father. So father perhaps may know everything about the child, because the father is seeing the child right from day one. But the child, he is seeing the father not from the father's day one. So the child doesn't always know everything about the father. The child can only know those things which the father shares. Oh, this is who am I, this is what I did in the past. Otherwise, the child cannot know. So Krishna is giving a very sound logic. You see, everyone, the demigods, the sages, they have come from me. I am their source. So how can they know about me everything? It's not possible. So then Arjuna asks, everything has come from you, you are their source. Do you also have a source of you? Is there something which is a source of you? So Krishna says, no, I don't have any source. I am the beginning of everything. There's nothing which, or no one which has created me. I am unborn, I am beginningless. And this is something which people should understand. If they understand this thing, this one thing, that I am the supreme, I am the end, I am the beginning which doesn't have a beginning, I am the cause which doesn't have a cause, then they understand everything. They know me actually. They know the origin. So then Arjuna has a question. But these great personalities, they are endowed with such great qualities. They are very intelligent, they are forgiving, they have control over their mind and senses. They have such wonderful qualities. So how is it that people with such wonderful qualities also don't understand God? How is that the good people don't understand God? Because the goodness people have is coming from God. So how do they don't understand God? So Krishna says, all these qualities, different qualities he mentions, he said all these virtuous qualities of living entities are created by me alone. The qualities are made by me. So how can someone understand me with these qualities? These qualities have come from me. I have given these qualities to them. So how will they understand me? Arjuna is still not able to grasp that Krishna said even the sages don't understand. So he said, but what about the sages? Why don't they understand? So Krishna said, because all the sages, whether they are the 11 great sages or even the 14 manus, means the progenitors of mankind, even these 25 people who are the source of all kinds of life on this planet and in the universe, they all have come from me. I am their source, and that's why they cannot know me. Hmm? Then Krishna says, Arjuna, now listen. Etam vibhutim yogancha. If someone understands, if someone is fully convinced of this opulence of mind and this mystic power of mind, this greatness of mind, that person will definitely engage in unalloyed devotional service, pure devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. So if someone understands this, that person engages in pure devotional service. Now, this verse has an indirect meaning actually. This is not what Krishna is trying to say. Arjuna's concern was, Krishna, demigods don't know you, the sages don't know you, you say no one knows you, then who knows? So instead of saying who knows Krishna, Krishna is saying those who know him, they engage in devotional service. So indirectly he's telling Arjuna, you find any person who is engaged in pure devotional service, you should know that person knows me. Hmm? That person knows me. One who is engaged in unalloyed devotional service. That person has understood all my opulences, understood all my mystic powers, and that person actually knows me. Of this, there is no doubt. And then Krishna begins to actually summarize how knowledge of this opulence, Krishna's greatness, can eventually lead to the highest perfection in the life of a living entity. These set of verses, 4 verses, chapter 10, verse 8, 9, 10, 11, are called Chatushloki Gita, 4 verses of Gita. These are the essence of Gita, in the sense the entire knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is condensed in these 4 verses. Entire knowledge, and we'll see that how it happens. So first Krishna says, first principle you should know, Arjuna, everything comes from me. What to speak of the people, all the material worlds and all the spiritual worlds, means everything that exists comes from me. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from me. And if anyone understands this, an intelligent person, what does that person do? That person worships me with all their hearts. Such people worship me with all their hearts. Fully convinced that Krishna is God. So now Arjuna wants to know, what does it mean to worship Krishna with one's entire heart, or all of one's heart? What does it mean? That I worship Krishna, I love Krishna, I serve Krishna with my entire heart. So then Krishna explains in the next verse, 9.9. 10.9. Majjitta matagat prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. It's a very beautiful verse. It says that person who worships me with his or her heart fully, 100%, always thinks of me. First thing, always thinks of me. And second thing, what does he say? That person is engaged in speaking about me and sharing about me with others, and also hearing about me. Bodhayantaha parasparam. That person is always eager to find others who love me, and then that person is always eager to either hear from them or to speak to them about me. parasparam kathayantascha namnityam. Always tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And this is what gives them greatest satisfaction. This is what they do for entertainment or enjoyment. They don't seek enjoyment anywhere else. And this is something very, very true, isn't it? Whatever we love and whatever we like, it's very natural. We'll be happily talking about it and happily sharing about it with others. If there's something nice we have eaten somewhere, whenever we get an opportunity, we'll try to advertise that thing. Or you should go to that place and you'll find this thing very nice there. It's the best there. So when anything good we have come across, we like to promote that, advertise that happily, even without seeking any commission or any profit, just naturally. So Krishna is saying, because those devotees of mine, they love me so much, they love me dearly, they are always happy talking about me and hearing about me. This is their symptom. And this gives them greatest joy. This gives them greatest satisfaction. And then Arjuna asks, okay, so how do you reciprocate with their love then? They love you so much. How do you reciprocate with their love? So Krishna speaks that in 10.10 and 10.11. Again, very sweet verses. Tesham sapate yoktanam vajatam priti purvakam dadam buddhi yogam tam yenamam payante. Krishna says, I speak to them from within their heart. I talk to them. I guide them. I give them all good intelligence, how they can overcome all the difficulties and challenges in life in coming back to me, in going back home, back to God. I personally guide them. And then I give them all transcendental knowledge. It's a gift from me to them. It's my grace. It's a lamp that will destroy all kinds of darkness, all kinds of ignorance. And it's me who provides that from within, from inside the heart. I give all this. This is how I reciprocate. Basically, I give that person my love, complete shelter and protection, and guide that person how that person can come back to me. It's not so easy. This world is a very complicated place, and getting out of it is not easy. But I guide that person, and that person knows exactly every day what that person has to do in his or her life, so that that person is surely going back and back to God. That person will never have confusion, dilemma, hopelessness, helplessness. Never. That person will always feel that Krishna is protecting me. Krishna is with me. Krishna is there. That person will always have this kind of feeling from within, this understanding. I'll give that confidence to that person. So this is how Krishna reciprocates. Now these four verses, let's look at them in a technical manner now. 8, 9, 10, 11. They talk about three subjects which actually form the entire knowledge of level in the Vedas. The Vedas, whatever knowledge it contains, can be divided into three parts. Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, and Prayojan Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means how to see everything in relationship with God, because everything has its relationship with God. Everything has come from God. So of course, it should have a relationship with God, isn't it? Because it has come from God. There cannot be anything which doesn't have any relationship with God. So to understand that relationship, my relationship with Krishna, others' relationship with Krishna, this world's relationship with Krishna, that's called Sambandha Gyan. Next one. Once I have understood what is that Sambandha, then 10.9 talks about how should I act in that Sambandha? How should I act in that relationship? Okay, now I understand Krishna is God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am Krishna's servant. So how should I serve Krishna? So that's the practice of devotional service, Abhideya Gyan. And the last, Prayojan Gyan. After I have engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna, what will be the result and benefit of that? What will I receive from Krishna? What will be my reward? Prayojan. What's the ultimate goal? And that's called Prayojan Gyan. So these three things are discussed in all the scriptures. Basically, all the scriptures, they talk about this only. And Krishna has very succinctly, in a very comprehensive way, explained these three subject matters in only 4 verses. That's why this is called the full summary of Bhagavad Gita in 4 verses. Very beautiful verses. One should memorize them, and meditate upon them. After having spoken like this, now Arjuna speaks to Krishna. This is the first time Arjuna is not asking a question. First time. Till now in Bhagavad Gita, he has only been asking questions. Now this is the first time where Arjuna is reaching a conclusion. He is going to speak to Krishna with affirmation what he understood in Bhagavad Gita. So he is giving a feedback which is not being asked for, right? He's so convinced. He speaks to Krishna 10.12. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Gom. Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth, Param Satya. You are eternal, transcendental, original person, unborn, greatest. This is what I have understood. This is what you are. So Krishna says, are you serious, Arjuna? Or you speak that because you are my friend? Are you serious? You accept that seriously or just because you are my friend? Arjuna says, of course not. I'm not joking. I'm not speaking this because you are my friend. Even great sages, I've heard them speak like that about you. Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. They talk about this like this about you, and you are also telling me the same thing. You told me Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchidas Dhananjaya. You are you are supreme amongst everything. There's nothing beyond you and greater than you. And Krishna, it's you who accepted the position of Guru. I became your disciple. So as a Guru, you cannot cheat me. You cannot lie to me. You are my spiritual master. So as my Guru, you are telling me that you are God. The difference is they tell you are God. And I also understand it like that. So I have come to a conclusion based on different viewpoints, not just my own personal feelings. So then Krishna says, so you accept everything, Arjuna, everything, no doubt on any statement or any word of mine? Arjuna says, everything, Krishna. Sarvam etad ritam manye yanma vadasi keshava. Whatever you have told me, Krishna, every single thing I fully accept as truth. Everything I accept as truth. And then Arjuna makes a request. You just told me some time back in 10.7 that if someone knows about your opulences, that person begins to serve you out of pure love, in pure devotional service. That person begins to serve you. So can you, Krishna says yes, can you please tell me in detail of your wonderful opulences? Some of those opulences. Can you please tell me in detail by which you pervade all this universe, all these worlds? Please speak to me about your opulences. To this, he adds further 3 questions. Katham vidyamaham yogins. What are they? First, how shall I constantly think of you? You told me I should think of you. So now I'm asking you, how should I do that? Then second question, how shall I know you? You said, no one knows you. Only those who engage in pure devotional service, they know you. So how shall I know you? And third, in what all forms are you to be remembered? You said you are everywhere. So in which all forms should I remember you? And how should I see you in everything? He asked these 3 questions. Very interesting it is. If you look at these questions, there is a great lesson behind these questions. When we have accepted a particular person as our guru or spiritual master, and as our relationship grows with that person, in the beginning, we may have questions like why? Why this? Why not that? We may have doubts over the authenticity, the authority, the validity of an instruction or a statement of scripture. Why like this and why not like that? We may be doubtful in that way. But soon over the time, as our faith and trust increases, our questions should change from why to how. If we are given instruction, why should I do this, should change to how I should do this. Means there should be an eagerness of doing it. We may not know how to do it because of lack of knowledge, lack of qualifications, lack of expertise in doing that. So we may ask, how can I do it? Can you please explain? But not, why should I do it? That should no longer remain. In a deep relationship, this doesn't come. In deep relationship, we already know that person is telling me to do something, so that thing is for my good. I know that. I have faith in that. I may not know now how I should do it. So I can ask, how can I do it? So here Arjuna is telling Krishna, I want to know from you how to do what you want me to do. You told me to do these things. I wish to learn how to do it. And this is a transformation in attitude which a spiritual practitioner must go through over the time, that whenever we come across any situation, we have been asked to do something for making progress in Krishna consciousness. We may not realize in the beginning it's for my progress, it's for my benefit. So we should ask, how can I do it? And when we ask that, then Krishna very mercifully from within our heart many times will show us the direction how to do it, not why should I do it. I'll tell you a very interesting story, past time related to this. It just came in my mind, so I thought I'd share it. Once Srila Prabhupada was in, I think, US. He was touring US and he was going to different temples in different cities. So he happened to be in one temple where the program would be like this, that there would be Mangal Aarti, early morning Mangal Aarti. And after the Aarti got over, immediately Srila Prabhupada would start giving the class, the morning class. And then everyone would scatter for their daily duties. So when Srila Prabhupada would begin this class, he would see that there is a lady, a disciple of his, who sits at the back, and she wears official clothes. Perhaps she was every day going to a job, and she was wearing such kind of clothes and sitting at the back. And as soon as the class would get over, immediately she would stand and leave from the gate. She would sit next to the gate and immediately she would leave every day. So Srila Prabhupada understood that perhaps this lady, a disciple of mine, is working, and that's why after the class gets over, she immediately disappears. So one day, few days passed, he called her, and he had some casual, talks, asking how is she doing and other things. And then Srila Prabhupada, in a very straightforward manner, said, it is a matter of etiquette that when the spiritual master is present, then the disciple should not come in front of spiritual master in such kind of clothes. The disciple should come in Vaishnava attire, in a Vaishnava dress. If one is a woman or one is a woman's body, then come in a sari or such kind of Vaishnava dress. Or if someone is in man's body, then come in dhoti kurta. So, Prabhupada just told this. He didn't tell you should be doing like this. Prabhupada said a disciple should come like that. So, next day it so happened that this lady was there, sitting at the back, same place, and she was wearing a sari. And as soon as the class got over, she left. Prabhupada wanted to talk to her, but then Prabhupada knew that she would get late for her job. So he did not speak to her. Then next day when she came sometime in the evening, Prabhupada called her and said, yesterday I saw you were wearing sari. Today also you are wearing sari. So how did you manage? How did you manage? And then she told Prabhupada, you told me that I should come in Vaishnava attire. Now actually that thing was very challenging for me. I also wanted to come in Vaishnava attire, but I live 40 minutes away from this school. And my office is not in the direction of house, it's on the opposite side.